Hello all, and welcome. How you all doing today? I am the Realist Philosopher, and this is the Realist Philosopher call-in show. So how you all doing today? Hope you're all doing good, fine, and well. I know I'm doing all right. So, this is the maiden voyage of my call-in show. I'm going to be doing this for the next week as a trial run, see how it goes. So for those of you watching on YouTube or somewhere else, I'm not going to see your comments. It's not going to be the same kind of interactive format as it was before. The chat is there for you guys to talk with, communicate with each other. If you want to talk with me, you'll see on the screen there the phone number for the call-in show. Now, I assume that the majority of you have cell phones, that the majority of cell phones in America, seeing as there's, I guess, a lot of cell phone providers, I would guess they compete with each other. So I believe that if you have a cell phone plan in America, generally speaking, you have unlimited minutes within the continental United States. I could be wrong. Maybe you're using one of those burner phones or some SIM card that you have to add money onto and you don't have a plan. I don't know how that works, but if you've got a decent cell phone with a decent cell phone plan, you probably can call anywhere in the United States, unlimited minutes. Or maybe you've got like thousands of minutes or something. I don't know, but you got plenty of minutes, right? So the number is, if you can't see the screen, 623-242-2517. That's 623-242-2517. Yes, I don't have a toll-free number. This is the maiden voyage. Let's see how it goes. If it goes well, then yeah, maybe I'd look into a toll-free number. I don't know. It's toll-free for you, but actually toll-free is kind of expensive, really. A hell of a lot more expensive than just using your unlimited minutes plan. So, yeah. So how you all doing? I hope you're doing good. I said that already, didn't I? All right, so what I'm going to do during this show is it'll be like any other radio show that's a call-in show. I'm going to talk about the current events of the day, the current news, what's going on in society, culture, politics, whatever. And I'm going to go into great detail about certain stories, and you all will call in with your opinions. All righty, now the call-in is a Skype number, so you'll call me, it'll come to my computer, I'll pick up. Everybody listening, however many people that is, and hopefully after the trial run, we'll get some more listeners, and everybody that is listening will hear you, hopefully. We'll see. I'm sure there's probably bugs that I have to work out, settings that I have to reset. Oh, well. All right, so let's see what stories are out there in the ether, waiting to be plucked from said ether and commented on by myself. Oh, my goodness. Boy, there's some interesting stuff here. Oh, my goodness. This is, I guess I should. I just restarted my PC. I had a bunch of stuff open before, but I wanted to have it freshly restarted. All right. How about that? Now, I would like to talk about that new green deal. All right. Just to pat myself on the back for my prognostication. I called in my podcast weeks ago. I called it at about $100 to $120 trillion, and it turns out that was right on the money. Good Lord. Talk about some dumb broad. That Ocasio-Cortez, oh boy, I don't even need to really... That's something good to talk about right there. Isn't it sad? I mean, you look back at our founding fathers, the majority of them were geniuses. Very intelligent men, right? Except for maybe George Washington. People think he was such a smart guy, but honestly, he wasn't that smart. If you know anything about the guy and study any of the history, he was kind of a scumbag. But most of them were pretty smart guys, right? And now we got this Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez running around telling people, we need to rebuild every building in America. Does she know how many buildings that is? What are we talking, like 500 million? Is it a billion? Nah, I don't guess there's a building for every one person, but fucking A, it's got to be in the hundreds of millions, right? Both old and new. Ay, ay, ay. So she wants to rebuild. And, of course, if you you got to think about it. There's like 150 million homes, then apartment buildings, then businesses, then manufacturing centers, factories. So it could be 500 million buildings. Well, we could tear all that down. We just need to have the will to do so. Yeah. Will is not too useful if you don't have food, dummy. Where are you going to get the money to pay for all this? Where's all this wealth going to come from, huh? Where's the wealth that the money represents going to come from, huh? Huh? Tell me that, sweetheart. We'll just have the wealthy pay 100% tax. Yeah, that's real brilliant. Oh, Lord. My God. So, of course, there's not much motivation there to pay, to actually work and produce anything and get wealthy. So, all these people just, take their money out of the country, or they'll stop working entirely. So it'll destroy the economy, right? Which is kind of the point, right? She's a communist. All these wacky communists have been programmed to believe that if there's some kind of uprising or collapse, that the workers of the world will unite and rise up, even though it's never happened. Also, she doesn't seem to realize that the top 1% or the wealthy, they're all workers too. They just work a lot harder than most people, which is why they're rich, and they're also a hell of a lot smarter. And they work smarter, not harder. So, but they also work very hard, so they're a hell of a lot more productive. They're just able to put their productive endeavors into far more efficient activities that produce far more. She's so stupid. Ay. What a dummy. I'm wondering how many of you are out there chatting right now. I couldn't see if I wanted to. I'm having problems with my PC. I can't get online on certain sites. I contacted my provider. They said they're working on the problem. I'm thinking about moving back to the U.S. just so I can have reliable internet. I mean, this is crazy. It's crazy. Ay. Tried to do my live stream yesterday. Couldn't get online. Ridiculous. What's this story? It's very strange. It won't open. Of course not. Here we go. Wow. Looks like Aunt Jemima. Okay. So, New York Post. Mom accused of trying to poison sons with lighter fluid. Huh. It's a petroleum product. I think it'd be pretty difficult to... She ever heard of rat poison? It's a black woman, by the way. I don't understand how you could get this wrong. Isn't it easy to kill people? I mean, okay, there's not a, poison store, right? But, you could go down to the hardware store and get something that's actual poison. Like rat poison, that'll do it. Why didn't she just get a box of rat poison and mix it in with some fucking pancakes? I don't get that. So a North Carolina woman has asked to have her parental rights revoked after she asked to have her own rights revoked after she tried to poison her two young sons with lighter fluid in their sodas. Ugh. I would think you would taste that. It seems like two young sons. Anybody out there think that women today, mothers, single mothers, mothers in general, have less regard, less respect, less concern for sons than daughters? I see this very disturbing growing trend where mothers, whether they have a husband or be single, although it seems to mostly be single mothers in the extreme, it seems like there's a trend for women to not care about their kids if they're boys. Has anybody else noticed this? It seems like there's far less concern for the boys than there are the girls. Of course, trying to poison them would be one indicator that you care less. Boy, oh boy, tried to poison them in their cream sodas. Cream? Did they still have cream soda? I remember drinking cream soda when we were kids. I remember we used to, my parents were lazy fucks. They didn't like to cook very much, so ordered a lot of pizza. And we'd order the pizza and order a fucking 6-pack of cream sodas too. It's a pretty good mix, actually. Root beer with pizza's better, though. But anyway, she faces 2 counts each of distributing food containing noxious or deleterious material and misdemeanor child abuse. I thought trying to poison people was attempted murder, because if you're trying to poison them, isn't the point to kill them? Oh, boy. Well, okay, not always, right? Because you could, like, give somebody a fucking roofie and they would live. All right. According to police, one of the boys knocked on the neighbor's door at the motel where they live, saying the drink smelled funny. As soon as you popped it, it hit your face. It was hurting my stomach. Ugh. She said the 6-year-old boy was transported to the hospital after drinking some of the soda, but has been released. It's unclear if the 10-year-old boy drank any of the poisoned drink. Wow. Wow. Well, of course, there's the problem with single mothers, right? They can't even get that right. They can't get anything right. That's why they have no husband. They can't even poison their kids right. Jesus Christ. Hey, lady! There's something called fucking rat poison, huh? Call me, let me know what you think of this trend. Am I right? Am I wrong? Is there a current trend in Western society that is such man-hating that women... It doesn't just seem like women, by the way. It seems like fathers, too, seem to care less for their sons. But is there a current trend in Western society to value men and boys less? Boys. I mean, you know, of course, obviously, there's a current trend to see men as disposable. But what about young boys? What do you think? Is there a current trend in today's society to value young boys? I mean, devalue young boys. Let me know. What's the number here? I have to memorize this shit. 623-242-2517. Of course, you need a 1 as well. And I see we haven't dropped any frames yet, so this is working well. I guess that's what happens when you don't have a picture. I have a picture, just a picture, not video, just JPEG. So I guess it makes it easier to stream. So she's her bail is been set at $100,000. Wow. I don't have the money. I'm going to sit this one out and Prius in. I'd like to have my parental rights terminated. I don't understand this. She reported herself, too? Oh, she asked... Okay, I assume she reported herself because she asked to have her parental rights revoked. So, the neighbor at the hotel reported her. And then she wanted to have... aren't there easier ways to get your rights revoked as a parent? You can do that, right? I mean, you can relinquish your kids to the state and with no consequence, and they get put into, I guess, like the... what is that called? Foster system? So they can get raped every day and fed shitty food and live under some stairs. Get locked in their rooms at night. Oh, my God. Wow. Just wow. No wonder these kids end up in such bad shape. Grow up to be serial killers and shit. My God. Ay, ay, ay. I can't imagine having kids and caring so little about them that... I mean, that this is beyond caring. This is not just apathy or neglect. I mean, she tried to poison them with lighter fluid. I don't understand that. Hey, lady, just anything you have at hand isn't necessarily going to work as poison, right? I mean, bleach would have been a better choice, for God's sake. I don't understand. I mean, this is how you know somebody's real dumb. They can't even get killing somebody right. That's got to be one of the easiest things on earth, wouldn't you think? Bonk somebody on the fucking head, feed them some rat poison, arsenic. You can get arsenic pretty easy. I don't understand how you... Isn't arsenic in rat poison? Good Lord. I mean, of course, I'm glad that she wasn't able to kill her kids, but Jesus Christ. This is crazy. Oh, this is interesting. This is interesting. What do we got here? Naked hermit living on a beach for 20 years. Huh. Japanese guy. Of course, it's a Japanese guy. Of course. It's got one of these autoplay. Yeah, we're opening these pages up, the news stories. And a video starts playing automatically. I fucking hate that. Although sometimes I'm able to hit the stop button before it starts playing. That pisses me off. I remember something similar with paying for memberships in the past for certain online stuff. And then little extras. They would automatically have like a box ticked for you to pay. And you'd have to untick the box not to pay them. That's... That's so dishonest. This is kind of similar to that. Yeah, I don't get to decide if I want to watch the video. You're going to show it to me regardless. So this story is called Naked Ambitions. Incredible story of the Japanese naked hermit, age 82. 82? Who's lived nude on a deserted island for 29 years after losing all his clothes in a typhoon. Huh. Masafumi Nagasaki. Oh, boy. Arrived on the remote island of Sotobanari in 1989 and now wants to die there. Oh, I think I've read this story before. I'm familiar with this. So they discovered him living there, and then they made him leave, and he wants to go back and die there. Wow. I guess this guy didn't have many ambitions. I mean, his ambition in life is to live alone and die. Yeah. A man who lived as a castaway on a deserted island for 30 years has been removed from his home after becoming the longest-lasting voluntary castaway alive. Huh. How do you think you'd do on a deserted island for 30 years? Do you think you'd be happy? I don't know. No TV, no internet, no McDonald's, no pizza. Although I don't think I've had fucking pizza in 13, 14, 15 years, but at least I have the possibility of getting pizza again. This fucking guy. How the hell is he going to make pizza there? Grind up a bunch of leaves. Oh, my God. So, that's pretty bad. I think that's sad. He lived in a life of solitude until he became known as the Naked Hermit. I got a bunch of pictures of this very skinny naked dude, which I really don't want to see. Although he don't look too bad for a 82-year-old guy. He's sitting there eating noodles. What the fuck's he getting noodles on a deserted island? How the fuck he's not making them? Strange. I guess people are giving him food or something. Visiting the island and giving him maybe ramen soup. He says he wants to be killed in a typhoon so nobody can try to save him. Wow. Wow, I think he was married before he ended up on that island, which is probably why he ended up there. I wonder what it would be like to live like that, though. No people. Nothing. Just you and some fucking lemurs swinging around on a fucking tree and just whatever you can get to eat, right? I mean, I guess his existence is a little better than... what was Tom Hanks in that movie, Castaway? If you haven't seen that movie, you should check it out. It's a pretty good movie, actually. He took like a 6-month break to lose a ton of weight. When he started the movie, he was like real fat. And then, they cut 4 years later. And he was like this skinny dude with bleached blonde hair who'd mastered spearfishing and shit. I wonder if this old man had to master that. So nobody knows how he ended up there. What did he used to do anyway? He ran his own hostess club in Niigata, port city in Honshu, Japan's main island. Hostess club. I'm guessing that's not making Twinkies. I'm guessing that's a hooker or a joint, right? Okay, that's the kind word for hookers. Okay, so he hosted a brothel in Niigata. He said he worked in a factory in Osaka when Mr. Nice said, wait a second. He ran his own hostess club and was also working in a factory. When one day a friend of his told him about the weird deserted island, and then he just decided on a whim, I guess, to go there. Wow. That's crazy. I wonder what did this guy's life, I mean, how good could it have been? And by the way, he has kids and grandkids too. That's strange. Could you imagine just dumping everything? Dumping everything and going to live on a deserted fucking island where you got to do your own fishing, you have to forage for your own food. Fuck. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. Well, what's the point of doing that? We spent thousands of years scraping in the dirt, eating fucking grubs and shit, to eventually reach the point we're at now. Our ancestors slaved and suffered so that we could have the plenty that we have now and the relative ease. that we all, or most of us, experience. Why would you want to go back to digging in the dirt and living naked and climbing up trees to get some fucking bananas and break open a fucking coconut to get some coconut milk? That's what they call it, right? Coconut milk. I don't know if it's actually milk colored. It's supposed to be very good for you. It's supposed to have a lot of vitamins and nutrients and shit. How the fuck do I know? I guess that's what he's surviving on, because he's one skinny motherfucker. But, I mean, he looks like he's a wiry fuck. In pretty good shape. Would you want to get out of... Just get out of the world and move to a fucking island? I don't know about that. Mass shootings show why we must stop pandering to white male fragility. The Guardian. Seems like whenever I see one of these weird, regressive leftist stories, it's from this fucking thing. I know the Huffington Post is mostly a bunch of fat, ugly feminists, but I don't know about the Guardian. No, I think it's in the UK, so I would guess that it's probably pretty similar. We have to stop pandering to white male fragility. I don't know, what does that mean? Mass shooters are white in mostly white countries. Well, no shit. It's mostly white people. Oh, we have mass shooters in Japan and they're Japanese people. Yeah, the population is 99% Japs. Of course it's going to be a Japanese person, by and large, doing the fucking shooting. What? Oh, my Lord. That's so stupid. This is... I don't know how old this story is. I don't know if I want to read this. Meh. It's just more attacks on white people. I don't get it. Didn't we, like, build the fucking world? I mean, didn't white people build the goddamn world? Didn't we build everything? Well, black people and fucking Mexicans and Aztecs were running around in loincloths and shit. The Aztecs, were they fucking sacrificing each other to their gods? Many people believe that's what happened to the inhabitants of all those ancient Mayan Aztec cities. They killed themselves. What they would do is they would fucking kill these people. They would kill them en masse. I mean, they really, really believed in sacrifice leading to some kind of better life here on Earth. Like, the more people you sacrifice, the more the gods would favor you. They would have to, like, go out and scour the fucking jungles looking for victims. I mean, they needed the people in their city to be productive. And, no, well, let's go out into the jungles and shit and grab people, right? Who aren't in any way, shape, or form contributing to our survival, right? And we'll bring them into the city, we'll chop their fucking heads off, and then toss their bodies in pits that are, like, right outside the fucking city. No, that's not going to cause disease or anything. Oh, no! Apparently they killed themselves, the majority of them, from disease. Right? I mean, they've got, like, these mounds and mounds of fucking bodies. Oftentimes they didn't bury. They would just toss them in great heaps outside the fucking city after they sacrificed them to their fucking sun god. Bunch of fucking savages. This was after Columbus found America, okay? I mean, this was not that long ago, so, yeah. And the ancestors of these people are the ones that we're supposed to have open borders for and open arms for and just welcome them into America, right? Yeah. Not too long ago, they were performing human sacrifices. Yeah, great. Yeah, let's bring them in. Let's bring them in. Yeah, these are the last people on Earth to give up human fucking sacrificing, right? Some of the lowest IQ people out there. But let's bring them in, yeah. I don't think so. Man. But, yeah, they killed themselves off from disease and shit. Ay vey. And yet we white people are the bad ones, right? Jesus Christ. Oh, you white people kept slaves, though. You're so bad. Islamic people are wonderful because they're oppressed. How does that work? These people that spout this stuff not know that Muslims and the Islamic world enslaved tens of millions of white people. Killed 30 million Africans. And enslaved 100 million more of them. throughout Islamic history? Did they know any of this? No. Oh, no. I guess Whitey was too smart. The white slave. Yeah, he doesn't listen too good. He's too smart a slave. We need somebody a little more savage. Follow orders better. But we're evil because we bought, throughout the entire history of the United States, 300,000 people from Africa. Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, Realist Philosopher. There were millions of blacks in America. Yeah, they have babies, you idiot. They had babies, you idiots. 300,000 compared to tens of millions of whites, 100 million blacks, but somehow Whitey is bad and the Muslims are good. Yeah, very interesting, huh? Yeah, it's interesting how the goodness and the badness of particular groups of people seems to correlate to how much money they have. How much wealth they're able to create. The groups that can create the most wealth, by and large, are the most successful in general. They're the worst! So you need to give us your money, you evil people, you! To make up for all the years you oppressed us. Yeah. Okay, I see. Oh, Lord. Alrighty, so. First of all, I just want to let you guys know we're about halfway through here. I might do it a little longer, this show, because it's the maiden voyage. You can check out my website and donate, therealistphilosopher.com. I really want to expand. I really would like to expand my operations and be able to produce more content. But to do that, I need your support. So, if you've never heard of me, listen to some of my content. If you're listening to this on YouTube, there's some videos you can avail yourself of. You can also look in the description, and you'll find a whole bunch of links, including my SoundCloud page, where you'll find my podcast, which I had been producing for twice a week. A bunch of other interesting links. If you like my material, which I hope you do, maybe you'll consider donating to therealistphilosopher.com/donate. That's therealistphilosopher.com/donate. So, let's get back to white hate. That's really all white hate is. Make us feel guilty, play on our guilt. A lot of white people feel bad, right? Because we do well, generally, and other groups, well, they don't do so well. And, of course, the message gets spread through education, through academia and the media that, there's no differences between the races. If there's any disparity between whites and blacks and Latinos, it has nothing to do with race. It's all about systematic oppression. So Whitey's doing better because you've clamped your foot down on Blackie's neck. So now you need to pay up, mofo. Cracker. That's why you see all these calls for reparations and shit. I don't understand this reparations. Can somebody explain this to me? If you want to call in, the number is 1-623-242-2517. That's 1-623-242-2517. And of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see the number on the screen. So can somebody please explain this to me? Because I don't get it. I do not get it at all. What is with this reparations crap? Now, if somebody does something bad to me, okay, then they should pay me, okay? Somebody runs over my foot, somebody hits me with their car or whacks me on the head with a bike lock because maybe I'm walking around with a MAGA hat on and they're a crazy leftist. Well, I should be able to sue them and get some quote-unquote reparations. So what's reparations, right? Well, reparations is essentially you paying somebody for wrong that you did to them, right? You do something bad to somebody, you should pay them some kind of reparations for their suffering, right? Now, this call for reparations implies that whites have somehow mistreated blacks today, now, in the 21st century, which we all know is bullshit, of course. The reparations are supposed to be about slavery. Meanwhile, do you see us complaining to Muslims? You see us complaining to Muslims and asking for them for reparations. Oh, well, they don't have any reparations, right? How would they pay us back? In AK-47s? That's the only thing of value they have is their AKs, right? They don't have anything else. Oil, maybe? Could we petition the Saudis to give us free oil for the next 1,000 years to pay us back for all the white slaves they took? They took 2 or 3 million Americans, during the late 18th, early 19th century in American history while we were becoming a country. They were freaking grabbing our people off of ships. They were strangling trade between Europe and America. We spent decades paying them off not to steal our people into slavery. And they'd steal our people, and then we would have to pay a ransom to get them back. This went on for decades during that period alone. And, we didn't have much of a navy. But, I mean, during the European history, just for a good 1,000 years, they were just stealing whitey whenever they could. Yeah. We're evil infidels, but they want us as sex slaves, right? Whitey makes good sex slaves. Ooh. I like me some white women. Yeah. I don't think that Muslims are too picky when it comes to women, though. So, most of them marry their first cousins, right? I think the average number is like, half of all Muslims in the world marry a first cousin. What's up with that, by the way? Is there a shortage of women in the world? Oh, well, okay, they have multiple wives, so, yeah. Yeah, I guess there is a shortage. Why would you want to marry your first cousin? God. Any of you out there would want to marry your first cousin or at least bang them? Any of you out there have a first cousin that's bangable? I'm thinking about my first cousins. I was looking online. This was like a couple years ago. And my family has like this yearly family reunion. They have this piece of property. Yes, white privilege. Oh my God, you own property just to have a family reunion. 2 days a year. I think it's 1 now, right? Because nobody wants to stick around for those 2 days and pay for a hotel or board people that are distant relations for an extra day. So 1 day a year, you've got this piece of property. What are you doing with it the other 300 and whatever days? Well, it's just sitting there fallow. Oh, God, that's evil white privilege. You should give that land to a poor person. A poor family could live there. Fuck off. Fuck off. I think the whole family got together and, got a purse and then bought the land so they could always have a reunion there. But, yeah, once a year they have a reunion. And I went and took a visit because I think it'd been like 30 years since I went to one of these fucking things. I was curious to see what people looked like. And boy, oh boy, it was a freak show. It was like I didn't recognize... It's very odd. It's like if you look at pictures of America, like students in America, like if you were to go back in time and look at pictures from like the 1950s and like all the kids are white. Because, America's actually a white country. Caucasian country. I think that's part of the problem with whites. We don't have a good name for what we are. Right? I mean, we it's a branding issue, right? We just call ourselves white. Black people call themselves Africans. There's a tie between their race and their country, continent of origin. But what about us? What name do we have that ties us to a land that reinforces our race, our ethnicity? Nothing. Whitey, cracker, honky. I mean, where's the special name for us that's tied to the land, that's tied to our place of origin? Nothing. Got a bunch of weak names. Somebody out there needs to come up with a good name for us, for our race, okay? I mean, you got women changing themselves to Wayman, Whammon, whatever the fuck they want to call themselves. Bunch of freaking feminists. Hey, Faye. What was I saying? Oh, fuck, I forgot. Okay. I was talking about... I don't remember. Okay. What's the... Dylan Roof. What the fuck? Oh, okay. I see. More white guilt. Guardian posts this story with a list of all the white people that participated in mass shootings. Interestingly, you never see them post a list of all the females raping little boys. That's the one thing you don't see the Guardian doing. Yeah. Those little boys Those little men, they got such male privilege. Many of them are white boys. Yeah, those little white boys, they got such white privilege, white male privilege, that they're getting raped by their teachers. Oh, but they're men, so they wanted it. Another notch in the bedpost. Hoo-ah! Yeah, okay. Who's saying that, right? Stupid Wayman, of course. Oh, my God. Dylan Roof. What was that? He looks nuts, yeah. He's got the fucking, the bowl haircut. Is that something a lot of nut jobs have? You know, you put like the bowl on the head and cut around that, the old Friar fucking tuck haircut. I guess nutty people don't have a particular hairstyle, but that would make a good serial killer haircut, though, right? You just identify yourself right away. Oh, he's got a fucking a bowl cut. He's a fucking serial killer. Good way to identify him, huh? Nah. Oh, if only they announced themselves in that way. All right. Totally forgot what I was fucking talking about. All right. Yeah. Most Americans think the U.S. border is the most porous border in the world. Interesting. Well, yeah. It's very interesting. I saw a picture the other day posted by a moron. It was a meme, I guess. But whoever posted it was a moron. And it had some writing on it like a wall is supposed to stop illegals from getting in. And then it had all these arrows pointing to all the other parts of our border that weren't covered. Like, you know, the East Coast, the West Coast, you know, the northern border with Canada. It's just like, wow, how stupid can you fucking be? How dumb are you? Well, you know, there's no wall around our east and west coast. So, you know, we put a wall on the southern border. They're just coming through the east and the west. No, there's something called oceans. That is so funny. So this is the stupidity of people. They equate oceans, thousands of miles of open water, with a land border. So here's something you need to understand about oceans. They're nice and flat, number one. Okay? So you can see for actually hundreds of miles. Especially if you got a good pair of binoculars. That's number one. Number two, you're right, unlike a fucking land border, well, you got trees, you got cactuses, you got fucking hillocks and hills and valleys and shit. People can hide, you know? That's problem number one, all right? In trying to compare the two. Number two, yeah, because the water's flat, you can see for a long fucking way. Number three, we have the Coast Guard. They're constantly patrolling the fucking border, okay? Number four, how many people have boats? How many people have fucking boats that can cross the fucking oceans, right? That can cross 3,500, 4,000, 5,000 miles of water. Not too many. And if an individual has the kind of money to afford a boat that can do that, they don't really need to come to America to get free welfare, right? Fucking A, how stupid are these people? Number six, people are not fucking dolphins, okay? How far can the average person swim? Quarter mile? Before they conk out and drown? A lot of people can't even swim. I'm half shark. I'm Aquaman. The stupidity of people never ceases to amaze me. Yeah, the lack of fish DNA in your genetic makeup and the lack of gills and the fact that people can see you coming 300 miles away, yeah, that kind of makes coming in via our east and west coast very, very difficult, right? If the sharks don't fucking get you, you'll drown. And of course, if you're in a big boat with like hundreds of you, because you've got some kind of human smuggler getting you into the country, well, that's not going to be a very fast-moving boat, and it's going to be seen if it doesn't fucking tip over and fucking capsize, you morons. And even if you've got them hidden in like those storage, those cargo containers, there's such a thing as customs, you know? You can't just fucking take your boat like a fucking rowboat and pull up onto the shore and shit, and everybody just gets off. No, you have to go to a port. You can't just park the goddamn thing anywhere and let people out. So these stupid memes. Oh, look, there's no wall there. There's no wall there. Yeah, that's because you got fucking ocean, you idiot. That's a kind of wall, moron. How far can you swim? Idiots. Oh, boy, oh, boy. It just ceases to, it never ceases to amaze me, the stupidity of people. The total lack of critical thinking. Yeah, if we had an ocean on the southern border, too, we wouldn't need a fucking wall either. Right? Well, depending on how much space there was between us and fucking Mexico. Although, if you ask me, I wouldn't mind if the whole fucking goddamn country sunk underwater. What do they export most? Heroin? Is it heroin the exporters of most? Heroin or cocaine? No, meth. It's meth. They just traffic the fucking cocaine, right? And the heroin from, other countries further south. But they mostly make meth in Mexico, right? That's their biggest exporter. That and welfare leeches. Yeah, they produce a lot of welfare leeches and fucking meth. Yeah. Goodbye. Sunk that fucking country under the waves. There wouldn't be any great loss. I'll tell you that much. What do you think? Is Mexico a wonderful place that doesn't deserve to be sunk under the waves? Did they export more than just welfare leeches and people willing to put shingles on roofs for minimum wage or less? Let me know by calling me at 623-242-2517. Don't you people out there have unlimited, bleh. What the fuck? I can't say unlimited. I try to talk too fast sometimes, and then it's a little more difficult to form the words. But yeah, don't you have unlimited minutes? I thought most people, isn't that how it works? I don't know how that works. Don't you have a plan? They have plans, don't they? Where you can call like anywhere in America. I mean, it's not like the fucking days of rotary phones, is it? God, I remember we had a rotary phone. My God, that was like the self-defense weapon in the house. Somebody broke into the house, you just grabbed the fucking rotary phone. It weighed like 23 pounds. Crack them on the skull with that. That'll do it. Had like a fucking handle on it. It doubles as a mace. Those fucking things were heavy, man. I'll tell you what. It took a long time to call somebody, too. So, I mean, you had to really like that person, right? Yeah, I think that we lost something with the rotary phone. Because you really had to be committed to calling that person. You really had to want to have that conversation. And it would be a more meaningful conversation because you put so much more into actually initiating the contact with the person. 3, 5, fucking it'd take you 2 minutes just to call somebody. And then if you misdialed, it was like, holy shit, I gotta fucking dial that again? No, I'm not doing that. I don't like them that much. Yeah, so, yeah, we definitely lost something with that. Did you know you rented them too? You didn't actually own the phone? Yeah, that's right. You had to pay like a monthly fee to the phone company to use their phones. Yeah, you see, for those of you not old enough to remember this, phone companies were the only ones that could make phones. There were no private companies making phones. You didn't have those like gigantic fucking keys for blind people. People are half blind and shit. 90-year-old people that can't see. Fucking key that's 10 times normal size. You didn't have anything like that. You didn't have fucking Mickey the Mouse phones or Donald Duck or any of that shit. No, you just had, most of them were yellow. I think you could pick the color, I guess. Yellow or red or some shit. Half the phones look like the fucking bat phone. Yeah, limited colors. They all look the same. Big, heavy fucking thing sat on the desk. Took up half the fucking countertop. Yeah. And then later they came out with the ones you could hang on the wall and shit. But those were real heavy too. Again, they made a good weapon as well. You had to have these things installed if you were going to hang them on the wall, because only the phone company sold the mount that went on the wall. So you call the phone company, I need a phone at this address. You wait a week. Such great customer service. It'd take them a week to get there with your fucking phone. So you'd be sitting there twiddling your thumbs until they get there. Yeah, such great customer service when you have a monopoly like that. Yeah. And so they'd have to install the fucking mount on the wall, and then they mount it. You had to pay for that too. But yeah, you rented the phones. You didn't get to buy them. Those were the days. Yeah, no computers. Makes you wonder. Were we better off before computers? I don't know. It seems like instead of bringing us together, it's taking us apart. I mean, when I was a kid, we went outside and did shit, you know? Like, there's pictures. I've seen them. I don't remember too well, but I've seen the pictures where I'm wearing like army fatigues. And so is my brother and his friend, and we're running around with these fucking M16s? No, M16 is the big fucking gun. What's the one that the fucking Vietnam vets used? I don't know. It's M something, but they'd have a rubber bayonet you could put on, and we would just fucking chase each other around and play soldier and shit. You're the Nazis, I'm the fucking Americans, and kill the fucking Nazis. That was some fun shit, man. We even had toy hand grenades. Or you would play like dirt clod battles. Although that wasn't necessarily the wisest choice, because some of them dirt clods would have rocks in them. That's not too bright. I remember sometimes you get clocked in the fucking head with a clod of dirt and there'd be a rock in it. It's like, holy shit, rung my fucking bell. So you want to be careful with dirt clods. I remember having to go through the dirt clod. It would be held together by like the roots of the grass and shit. And by the way, yeah, I don't think our parents were too happy about that. You'd actually be ripping up the fucking grass and using it and throwing it at each other. They didn't like that too much. The roots would hold the dirt together, and you'd have to like sift through the fucking roots to make sure there's no rocks. So you didn't like put a big gash in your brother's fucking head. That was how kids played when I was a kid, man. We did some crazy shit. Yeah, there were risks. But I mean, a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Now, what do kids do? Mom, wait, can I use your cell phone? Candy Crush or some other bullshit. I don't know what those fucking games are. All the games on my phone are in some foreign fucking language. I can play like one game because I can figure it out. Even though all the writing is in some other fucking language, I can still figure out all the moves and shit while I'm on the fucking train. All the other games I can't play because they're all in some other language. So, yeah, nowadays kids don't do shit anymore. They don't do anything. They don't go out and ride their bikes because they got these fucking helicopter parents who won't let them go outside because they're afraid somebody will abduct their fucking kid. You know how rare that shit was, by the way? Back in the 50s and 60s. That shit almost never happened, man. Nowadays, it's just all the fucking time. Well, no, it's actually kind of rare, statistically. But you got all these parents, they think that it's not rare because the media just goes on and on and on, talking about the worst possible thing that could happen to them or their kids. So they think it's like commonplace. So I gotta watch my kid all the time. He's 12 now, but I can't let him outside. If I do, somebody will grab him. Big fat porker kid that doesn't do anything. 200 pounds at age 12. You really think anybody wants him for anything? Maybe to eat him. Maybe you'll get abducted by a fucking cannibal. But I tell you, I'm going to guarantee you that your little fat kid, unless there's some kind of chubby chasing fucking pedophile out there, they don't want your kid, okay? They don't want your fucking kid. I don't think there's a lot of chubby chasing pedophiles out there. Maybe there's some, but I think they like skinny young boys, not fat ones. I mean, unless you got Hannibal Lecter running around out there, I don't think you have too much to worry about. Although, then again, if she let her kid out to run around, then he'd lose weight, and then he might be, something that a pedo child abductor might actually like. So I'll just keep him at home and make him fatter so that nobody will want him, but I'll never let him out of my sight, so there's no possibility for anybody to abduct him in the first place. And he'll die at 30 from a fucking heart attack, like John Candy. Anybody out there know who John Candy is? I think I outlived him. He died in his late 40s. He was a brilliant, I don't know about comedian. He was like a good comedic actor. And he was in a bunch of movies in the late 70s and 80s. One great movie was called Uncle Buck. If you've never seen it, I suggest you check it out if you're too young to know who I'm talking about, or maybe you've heard of him but not seen any of his movies. That was a hilarious fucking movie. I suggest you check it out. It's got that kid from Home Alone that's now a heroin skeleton. What's his fucking name? I forget his name. He spent like 20 years sucking down heroin because he's getting all these residuals from the fucking movie and, never had to work another day in his life. So, lots and lots of money, lots and lots of free time, too much time in Hollywood as a kid. Heroin looks yummy. So, yeah. I'm sure he cut off 10, 15 years of his life sucking down all those drugs. I think he's clean now, maybe, but I don't know. He still looks kind of gaunt and pale to me. But, yeah. But that's a good movie. Yeah, I don't remember his name, but anyway. That was a funny movie, by the way, the first one, Home Alone. The second one sucked, right? And what are the odds of those two losers that escaped from jail running into that kid in New York City when he's left home alone a second time the very next Christmas? It's nonsense. You had to suspend too much reality to enjoy that movie. The first one was good, though. But that didn't make any sense either, right? I mean, what kind of thieves are going to... This is what didn't make sense to me. You remember that movie Home Alone? You get the two dumb thieves, and they must have went back to that house half a dozen times to make sure the parents weren't there. It's like, dudes, somebody's home, you just go and rob another fucking house. That was a nice house, but it wasn't that fucking nice. So stupid. That's not how thieves work, okay? They might case a joint once, but not 4, 5, 6 fucking times. And they're certainly not going to go through all that trouble to get into a fucking house, all those booby traps and shit. You're going to get out. And by the way, the kid didn't call the cops. I mean, he eventually called the cops after he put these guys through that maze of fucking traps and shit. Who's going to do that? You would just call the cops immediately and then get out of the house. Stupid fucking kid. Stupid. Yeah. What was I talking about? I go off on these fucking tangents, and now I forget the original subject I was discussing. Oy vey. All right, so white male fragility. Rachel Dolezal. Oh, good. I'm just looking through a list of stories here. What? Oh, this is interesting. Woman rapes man with machete. Huh. This is old. I've seen this before. This is fucking old. Why is this popping up on my screen? What the fuck am I looking at here? I must not have scrolled down. Let me see if I scroll. I'm looking at the wrong stories. I'm like at the top from 6 fucking months ago. Jesus Christ. Here we go. Yeah, recent stories. No wonder I was looking at all these stories and thinking, I've commented on these before. Yeah, I have. I'm looking at shit from a year ago. Okay, let's see here. Oh, God, Ivanka Trump. That's one hot broad. She still looks pretty good, even though she's had kids. She's definitely bangable. No question about that, which isn't surprising. Her mommy was a fucking model. Listen to this shit. Talk about privilege. Being Trump's daughter is the hardest job, Ivanka jokes on. Hot date with Jared Kushner. Hot date. She's married, ain't she? She's 37, Jared's 38, blah, blah, blah. That comment is what I'm curious about. That's the hardest job, huh? I think crab fishermen might disagree with you there, Ivanka. By the way, any of you watch that fucking Deadliest Catch? I haven't watched that thing in years. Ever since that one captain that nearly smoked himself to death got accused by his daughter of diddling her when she was little. I was like, okay, I've had enough. I don't want to watch this show with a fucking child diddler as the star. That's a fucking tough job. Those poor... You ever watched it? I watched like the first 11, 12 seasons. These fucking guys, they get no sleep for like days on end. And they're constantly pulling those big, heavy fucking traps out of the water. Good Lord. I wouldn't want to do that job, man. Fuck that. Ivanka Trump and her husband stepped out together on Saturday. Yeah, what do I fucking care? It's some bullshit about something she's doing. We're supposed to, like, envy and hate her because she's got such a wonderful life. What the fuck do I care? She's eating caviar. Who gives a shit? All right, so the whole story is just she said she has a hard job because she's Donald Trump's daughter. Yeah. She's never worked a real job in her life. Show me some pictures of her as a teenager working at Pizza Hut. Show me that! I worked at Pizza Hut, I think, when I was 16 or something in the fucking kitchen making pizzas. You know how that works? So they've got the dough. It comes in already pre-made. You think you're getting fresh pizza when you go to Pizza Hut? No. It's frozen. It's fucking frozen dough, man. You're thinking, oh, it's not frozen pizza. That's fresh. No. The dough comes in pre-squished. You know how they throw it up in the air in a real pizzeria and shit? To get it circular and all that? They don't do that at Pizza Hut. What do you think? They're tossing that shit in the air like Luigi at the fucking New York pizza place? No. The dough comes in frozen. And it's already been pre-squished, or spun, or however they do it. I don't know how they get it down to that fucking circular shape where it's even. I guess they have a rolling machine or some shit, and then it gets cut and frozen and sent to the Pizza Hut. It's frozen pizza you're getting at Pizza Hut. That's why people talk about New York pizzas being the best, because in a New York pizzeria, they make the dough fresh. In a fucking Pizza Hut, everything is frozen. Even a fucking, what is it, sausage is frozen. The little tiny cubes of sausage that you can get on your pizza, frozen. The pepperoni, frozen. It's all frozen. They just take the frozen shit, they throw it all together on a pizza, and then they fucking cook it. That's all. That's why if you eat a frozen pizza and a Pizza Hut pizza, it's about the same. But then you get a New York style pizza or an actual, New York pizza from a New York pizzeria. It's much different, but yeah. But yeah, that was a interesting job. Yeah. A lot of kids today never had jobs. A lot of you out there listening in your early, mid-20s, bet you never had a job when you were teenagers, did you? Yeah, when I was a kid, you had to go to the counselor's office to get a work permit. How it worked was you've got this little piece of paper, and it would have to be signed by your parents, you, and the employer. And the minimum working age was, I think it was 14, and you were limited to how many hours you could work a week. So, of course, you would just work like 16 hours a day on Saturday and Sunday. I remember once I was working as a dishwasher at a catering place. It was like a place where they would rent out the hall, and they also catered meals. So I remember one day working like 16 hours, and I didn't go to the bathroom at all because I hadn't been drinking anything. I'd just been getting fucking plates and fucking pans nonstop for 16 hours. Ain't you out there at the age of 14 works 16 hours straight? I bet you didn't. I bet you fucking didn't. Kids these days, they don't do anything. They play on their cell phones or they're jerking off all day. Not necessarily anything wrong with jerking off. Of course, nothing wrong with that, but doing it all day or, playing video games and getting fat when you're 14. Nah, I remember when I was fucking 14, I'd be riding my bike. I'd be hiking in the woods. Kids don't do any of that shit now. Bunch of lazy bastards. No wonder they're all such a bunch of entitled cunts. Never had to grow up, never had to work growing up. Big surprise they grow up thinking that money and resources just grow on trees. Well, resources do. Apples, fucking bananas, oranges, but money don't. Okay. Oh, Roseanne's back in the spotlight. Good Lord. She's saying some interesting stuff. You remember how Roseanne had that show? Mid-last year, was it? Roseanne came back, and then she made that tweet about the woman that looked like the character from Planet of the Apes. And she actually looked like that. But apparently, comparing a white woman who claims to be black, this is something I've always found very interesting, by the way. Why is it that mulattoes, and by the way, what's wrong with saying mulatto? I can't call them mulattoes. What do I call them? Half-breeds? What am I supposed to call people who are half white, half black? Mixed race? You can't say Oriental anymore either. Everything's objectionable. Everything has to be changed. I'm going to call them mulattoes. You don't like it? Fuck you. I'll say what I want to say. So she's a mulatto, right? Like a half-breed, but she looked white. Why is it that all these half-breeds, these mulatto people, if there's such a thing as white privilege, like, if you actually got more privileges from being white than if you did being black, why do they all claim to be black people then? Why do they all identify as black? I mean, if there's so much cachet to being white, If there's so many benefits to being white, why is it I never see any of these people? Hell, you got white people trying to turn themselves black. Like, what's that one guy on Twitter all the time? I forget his name. He's white as the driven snow, but he claims to be black. I forget his name. And you got that Rachel Dolezal, too. She's spray tanning herself up. She's white as the fucking driven snow, too. What's up with that? Somebody tell me, if we're so privileged, why does everybody else want to be black? So, anyway, she got kicked off the show, right? And then it tanked. They tried to rename it the Connors. Oh, God. Like, anybody wanted to see that. They brought back the first... excuse me. So, in the show, Diane had 2 daughters and an ugly son who was socially awkward. And they brought back the one daughter, the lesbo, right? But in the show, they had the oldest... I don't remember her name. I mean, what the fuck am I going to remember the name of characters from a show 30 years ago? But the oldest daughter, they replaced her with somebody else. Well, they brought back the first daughter, the girl that actually played the character, you know, in the first and the second season. And then they brought back the lesbo that hates men. Yeah. What is it with that? All these lesbians, of course they hate men. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Why would you want to munch on muff, right, if you're abroad? What's that doing for you? That's why they got to put on them fucking strap-ons and everything. They don't have the tools to get themselves off or to get each other off, so they need to use man parts. Oh, yeah. They still like men. Hey, put that strap on, honey. They like the male parts, but they don't like what comes attached to it, a man. But they're lesbians, right? They're gay. Yeah. Please. If you're so gay, stop using male parts to get off. Anyway, so they booted her off the show. They brought back everybody else, though. That ugly broad that played Roseanne's sister in the show. Yeah, she couldn't carry a show. I hated her character. I hated her kids, too. And then the guy that played Dan Connor. He's a passable actor, but they couldn't carry it. People watch that show to watch Roseanne. By the way, I don't know if she was ever a funny comedian. I mean, I hear people say she was funny, but I don't know. I saw some of her early movies. Not too good. So Roseanne Barr didn't hold back on the Me Too movement in a new off-the-rails interview, launching a verbal attack on Senator Kamala Harris and other women in the process. Oh. I guess she figures she's got nothing to lose. Like her career is over now. Nobody's going to cast her for anything. Because she said a half-breed, half-white, half-black lady looked like a character in a movie who happened to be an ape. Ooh. Meanwhile, you got white people being called cracker and honkies and shit by blacks. Nobody cares. The 66-year-old comedian who was axed from the hit Roseanne reboot in May following a racist... It wasn't racist. Fucking Yahoo. I'm looking at Yahoo. Yahoo are a bunch of fucking leftist liberal cunts. It wasn't a racist tweet, you pinhead. Sat down with conservative commentator Candace Owens. Ugh. Yeah, all that Candace is, she's like a conservative who's black, right? She's good at memorizing conservative talking points, where she mocked sexual assault accusers in the Me Too movement witch hunt. Well, that's all it is. If you don't run out of the room, but you stayed around because you're like, I thought maybe he was going to give me a writing job, well, you ain't nothing but a hoe, Barr said during an episode Sunday of the Candace Owens Show, after asking why women were in men's hotel rooms late at night. Oh, I see. This is about the Harvey Weinstein. Well, what do you expect? First of all, that's a good question. What are these broads doing in Harvey Weinstein's room late at night, right? And he didn't force any of them. They all had sex with him because they wanted jobs that paid $20 million. So? I mean, have you looked at the guy? Not a good-looking guy. He's like a -2, man. Or maybe a -3 on a good day. He's a really hideous guy. So, yeah, he's got to buy it. So what? Now men can't buy it anymore, right? Yeah, of course not. Women don't like it when men can buy it. If men can buy it, they lose the power of the poon, right? That's why it's illegal. That's why prostitution is really still illegal, because women don't want it to be readily available. If it's readily available, competition will drive down the price, and then the majority of men could afford to pay for it. Can't have that. Oh, no! If Poon is easy to get, we no longer control the men by the power of the Poon. Of course. Yeah, she's right on the money, by the way. Barr and Owens compared the feminist movement to white supremacy. Absolutely. While Barr added that Me Too accusers are pretending... by the way, I find it humorous that they say that like it's some kind of huge shocker. Like, that's so provocative and it's so wrong the way they say it. Oh my God, they compared feminism to white supremacy. Yeah. One is real, the other isn't. Well, Barr added that Me Too accusers are pretending that they didn't go to trade sexual favors for money. Of course. I know a hoe when I see one, Barr exclaimed. They need to be called out. That's privilege. Hoe privilege. I like that. That's pretty good. The outspoken comedian then lashed out at Kamala Harris, nicknaming her Kama Sutra Harris. She's the broad that slept with that senator, that mayor 30 years ago to get her first job in politics. We all know what she did. She slept her way to the bottom, Barr said, referring to the senator's former relationship with ex-San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown, who's now 80. It tells you how old Kamala is. Pretty old now. Barr also took shots at Dr. Christine Blasey Ford. Ah, good. I'm glad somebody does. This has been too quickly forgotten. Who tearful? But by the way, if I was Kavanaugh, I would have sued her ass. I would have sued the shit out of that Blasey Ford doctor. A doctor or what? Psychology. It's not a science. I am a doctor of Harry Potter lore. It's on par with that, really. Fucking psychology. I'm a doctor. I'm a doctor of TVology. I've watched lots of TV, and I studied TV in university until I got a PhD in TV sciences. So I'm a real doctor. Yeah, okay. Who tearfully testified against now Supreme Court Judge Brett Kavanaugh after accusing him of sexual misconduct. It's very interesting, by the way. 2 of the 3 broads that accused him have come out and said they made it up. Where's the media outrage? Where's the media outrage? Oh, nobody cares. Nobody cares. She should go to prison, Barr said, adding that Ford used her white woman privilege to avoid time behind bars. She claimed that nothing happened to Ford. Women are encouraged to be conniving, Barr said. Conniving little wimps. So this is why she got booted from the show. I mean, they wanted to get rid of her first of all because she's a big fan of Trump, right? Big fan of Donald Trump. And, you know, she said a black person looked like a character from a movie who looked like an ape. Or was an ape. Yeah, okay. Didn't a bunch of these leftists call Trump an ape too? Said he looked like an orangutan? Okay, but that's okay. Ay. Okay, now this really disturbs me. This next story I want to talk about. Do you know they're going to have a second Brexit vote? It looks like there's going to be a second Brexit vote in London. I can't believe this. This is shocking to me. I'm like, wow. I can't believe this. That's crazy. It's like saying, oh, we're going to have a second vote for the president. We don't like the results, so we're going to vote again and get another president because we just don't, like the first vote we got, right? Labour is forced into backing a second Brexit vote by Theresa May's actions. Oh, my God. Didn't you people already have a vote? I don't understand this. You have a vote. You vote to leave the European Union. And now you've created this, these circumstances where you have to have another vote. Why? Didn't you already vote? I don't get this. This is very confusing. Britain's opposition Labour Party does not want a second Brexit referendum, but has been forced into supporting one by Prime Minister Theresa May, running down the clock on negotiations, Labour's finance spokesman John McDonnell said on Sunday. So, for those of you who don't know too much about the UK, Theresa May is a globalist shill, just like Macron and, a lot of those other idiots in the European Union. And so she wants to stay in the European Union. And she's hoping, praying, that if she gets a second vote, that maybe they've gotten enough illegals into the country that are now going to be able to vote legally, illegally, whatever. Maybe they've transformed the demographics enough, and maybe they put out enough propaganda since then to change the minds of enough of the Remainers that they'll be able to win this time. So let me get this straight. The citizens vote. The government doesn't like the vote. So the government decides to hold another vote so they can get to the decision they want. Well, then why do you even have democracy? Well, why are people voting in the first place if the government's just going to keep on voting, and if they don't get the vote that they want, they'll just spend another 5 years feeding you propaganda until they change people's minds and get enough Muslims coming in the country who will vote for socialism, and then eventually they'll win. That doesn't seem very democratic to me. So this week, Labor said it would back a second referendum in order to try to prevent either a no deal or a May's deal. May's deal. Yeah, May's deal was a joke. Oh, my God. With less than a month until Britain is due to leave on March 29th, May is yet to win Parliament's approval for her deal. You know, they're courting civil war here, honestly. Although I don't think that British men have the balls anymore. And, of course, they have no guns, so what the fuck can they do, right? The idiots gave up their guns years ago. Bunch of morons. They're farther along the liberal path than America. Yeah, sure, we trust the government enough to give up all our guns. They won't become authoritarian, tyrannical scum. No. We've been forced into this by Theresa May delaying, running down the clock, McDonald told Sky News, saying Labour is still pushing to get its alternative Brexit plan adopted. Fucking A. Alternative plan. Why don't you just do what the people wanted? Right? I don't understand this. They voted to leave. Why don't you just leave? I don't understand this. Why do you have a vote if you don't do what the people vote for? It makes no sense. It's crazy. Why even have votes if you're just going to do what you want in the end anyway? They didn't vote the way we wanted. Let's just have another vote. Until we get the result we won't. Yeah, that's real democratic there, yeah. Unbelievable. Unfucking believable. I mean, if they had any balls, first of all, if they had any balls, they wouldn't have given up their guns. But if they really had any balls, they would riot. They would riot and push the country to the brink of civil fucking war, okay? But of course they won't. The feminism is more powerful in Britain than it is in America. The men there have had all their balls chopped off. You go into the houses of most British, quote-unquote, families. There ain't very many, by the way. Well, it's half the population single mothers. If you do find a couple that are still together, you walk in, you look on the mantle, the guy's balls are in a jar with a label on it, "When I was a man, 1985. Some old, broken-down dude sitting there with his head in his fucking hands thinking of the days when he was a man, if ever. Pathetic. Pathetic! Oh, my God. Real men wouldn't tolerate this. Do you think John Wayne would tolerate this? Do you think John Wayne would vote? And then you tell him to go fuck himself and his vote don't mean anything and the government will just do what they want? You think he would just sit there with his head in his hands and bawl? And think about the balls he doesn't have anymore? Fuck no. He'd run and get his fucking gun and then he would raise an army and he would overthrow that motherfucking government. Bunch of pussies in England. Can you believe these people used to rule the fucking world? Through the power of their navy? Get the fuck out of here. And their mastery of tactics. Yes, and their machismo. Bunch of pussies now. Half the guys have vaginas. It's pathetic. Pathetic. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, we have a vote, but the government is going to just keep on voting until you do what essentially they want you to do. Why do you have a vote? And that's why you have to have your guns, baby. Look at fucking Britain. Look at what's happening in Britain. That's how bad it's going to get if you give up your guns. The government will just do what it wants. They get a vote they don't like? Let's just play a bunch of political games and, run down the clock and until the deadline is up. And, we wouldn't have come to a decision. The people came to a decision. We're supposed to represent the people, but we don't like the decision the people came to. So we're going to do what we want. And if they won't let us do what we want, well, we'll make it so that we get our way anyway. Yeah, let's wait a decade. Yeah, then we'll get the what we want, right? We'll have naturalized enough Muslims by then that love socialism that, yeah, they'll vote to stay in the EU. Fucking ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. All right. Oh, by the way, did you hear about that story? The one from Berkeley, the kid that got punched in the face? They found the guy. They found the fucking guy that punched him in the face, and they charged him with assault with a deadly fucking weapon, a felony. He's in jail right now. The poor little fucker couldn't afford the $3,000 to get out of jail. There's a $30,000 bond. He had to come up with 10%. He couldn't come up with it. So the little punk is in jail. Oh, when I saw that video, I was pissed. I was wishing it was me there. Yeah, why don't you try punching me in the face, pal? See how well that works out. He's wailing away on that little pussy conservative that didn't fight back. Are you kidding me? Fucking A, so pathetic. So many of you people out there call yourselves conservatives, and you're a bunch of wimps. You're a bunch of wimps. You let these people wail on you. Are you kidding me? Do you have any self-respect at all? Any? Pathetic. I would have knocked that fucker out. Unbelievable. But yeah, he's in jail right now. I don't remember his name. Do I have the story here? Let me see. No, I don't have it here. Another story about Ocasio-Cortez, though. Good Lord. The brothers who allegedly helped stage the attack on Jussie Smollett issue an apology. Oh, my God. Yeah, the guy who allegedly planned the assault on himself. What do you think about that Jussie Smollett case? Some of you should be calling in. There's got to be some of you in the chat. Be it on Twitch or YouTube. You got to want to talk about some of these subjects. Why don't you give me a call? Eh? Give me a call to discuss this stuff. 623-242-2517. Be very easy to get through. That's for sure. Okay, so the brothers, they're issuing an apology. Good Lord. Okay, so I'm looking at the picture here. They're steroid freaks, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that guy's pecs are too big. That guy is a steroid mule for sure. All right, so yeah, a lot of these personal trainers out there are steroid users. Scammers. What scammers? Personal trainers are, by the way, a huge scam. Look at me. I am an Adonis. And since I've made myself look like this, I can teach you how to look like this too. What a scam. What a fucking scam. Let me tell you something about personal trainers, okay? It's a big, giant fucking scam, okay? By the way, these two guys are personal trainers, which is also why I'm talking about it. But yeah, it's a scam. Look, some people have good genes for physical development, okay? Some people can develop a very good physique, but it's mostly genetic. I mean, you could lift weights until the cows come home, but you might still look like a fucking cow, okay? A lot of this stuff is in your fucking genes. You can either look that way or you can't. Most people can't. But these people, they play on the old belief, the old trope that, yeah, if you work hard enough, you can look like me. It's bullshit. It's total bullshit. You can't. You cannot. Okay, so the brothers who Jussie Smollett allegedly paid this. Why is there allegedly? Okay, I guess they have to put allegedly in there. By the way, they also put allegedly in the story about that attack on that kid at Berkeley. I mean, we got video of him being punched in the face, but fucking New York Times is saying the kid that was allegedly punched in the face. What do you mean allegedly? I'm looking at it on video here. Allegedly paid to stage a bogus hate crime attack against him, have issued a public apology. Well, they're poor Nigerians. They were poor, oppressed Africans. They had no choice. So, Amimbola, wow. Now that's that's a real African fucking name. Deshaun is just some bullshit made-up name, right? Devon, Deshaun, Laquita, Lashonda. Those aren't real African names. Those are black people who think they're imaginative, trying to come up with what they think sound like African names, but they're not African at all. But this is a real African name. Abimbola. Bimbo. Bimbo. He's a bimbo. I bet you that's the one that Jesse banged in the ass. I remember reading the story of that said one of these guys was his lover. It's probably the one with the name Bimbo in it. Abimbola. Abel was able to get banged in the ass, and Olabinjo. These names are hilarious. Binjo and Bimbo released a statement to CBS Chicago Thursday saying that the two men felt tremendous regret for being involved with the situation. Yeah, they're looking to get a little more airtime. Right? Yeah. They're hoping that some more white crackers will sign up for their fucking personal training business. Yeah. They'll probably put this on their website. We are the two Africans that Jussie Smollett hired to do the fake attack on him. And he said we bit him. And put a noose around his neck. We didn't do that. Well, we were hired to do that by him. We're victims, you know, so... I'm stumbling and all that in my speaking because I'm imitating people with bad English, which they don't have because they're not actually Nigerians. They're Americans who, you know, for some reason self-identify as Nigerians, which is another problem with bringing in all these people from these third world countries. They don't assimilate. They identify with their parents' homeland instead of the country that's given them all this bounty and allowed them to make money off of their pecs. What the fuck you identifying as Nigerian for, motherfuckers? Call yourself Americans, bitch. Could you go back to Nigeria and make money off those pecs? Yeah, you could, but it would be swinging a fucking hoe. I'm pulling a plow. Oh, my God. They also apologize for the negative impact they may have had on people across the country, particularly for those who were victims of hate crimes. Yeah, they feel bad. You know why they feel bad? Because they got caught. I guarantee you that if they hadn't been caught, you wouldn't hear them saying a goddamn thing. Okay? So, my clients have tremendous regret over their involvement in this situation, says their lawyer, and they understand how it has impacted people across the nation, particularly minority communities. You really think that's who it's impact? I love it. I love it. Because, of course, you can't impact white people, right? Nothing can hurt white people. Except bike locks over the fucking head. That'll hurt them, and bricks. And Molotov cocktails. Oh, it turns out we can be hurt just like anybody else, but nobody talks about the impact on us. How does this hurt fucking black people? What this hurts is white people. You could add a race war. You're inciting blacks to hate whites. But somehow this has negatively impacted minorities? Yeah, because we can't in any way, shape, or form call white people out as possible victims. Oh, no. In the initial report about the alleged attack, Smollett claimed to police that he'd been physically attacked on the street in his downtown Chicago neighborhood around 2 a.m. Yeah, there's a lot of white people running around at 2 a.m. hoping, praying that Jussie Smollett might come out to buy a hoagie. At a time most people would be in bed. That he claimed to have been attacked by two black-clad masked men who used racist and homophobic slurs, doused him with an unknown chemical, and left him with a rope around his neck that was still there when the cops came. Yeah. By the way, that should have been clue one that this was bullshit. If somebody put a fucking rope around my neck and assaulted me, I would have taken it off my fucking neck. I wouldn't be sitting there with it around my neck like a fucking prop. Bullshit. Yeah, it's very interesting because they identified the brothers in footage, and the cops knew that it was the brothers in the footage, but Jussie Smollett didn't know that they knew who the people in the footage were. So he identified the brothers as the people that attacked him, but somehow he didn't recognize their voices. And actually thought they were white, even though the skin that he could see through the mouth slits and the eye holes was black. Very interesting, Jussie. Oh, but you didn't fake this. Oh, no. So Bimbo and Binjo, Billabingo, who were seen on surveillance footage the night of the incident and later questioned by police, were arrested 2 weeks ago, but were eventually released after telling them about the alleged hoax. So Jussie is another one of these... Oreo. He's Oreo, I guess you would call him. Isn't that what they call them in derogatory terms? Half white, half black or something. But he's a mulatto. But of course he has to, isn't he? Or is he just a very light-skinned black guy? I don't know. He don't look like a black person to me. He looks more mulatto. But of course he let his hair grow out so you could see the kinkiness, right? Yeah. Yeah, I have to play upon my black creds. I have to let you see my kinky hair so you know I'm black, so you will give me my black privilege. Even though if there was such a thing as white privilege, I should really be pretending to be white, or I should be claiming to be white, or identifying as white, but there's really no white privilege. I just play on white people's guilt. Yeah. An attorney from the Osundario brothers, Gloria Schmidt, oh boy, previously told CBS Chicago that they knew Smollett from working on Empire and go to the same gym on occasion. Oh, they do more than that together on occasion. At least one of them. I think the Bimbo one. I do wonder which was the top and which was the bottom. But anyway, Schmidt did not immediately respond to people's requests for comment. So authorities believe the actor paid them in to stage. Yeah. We know all the details. Yeah, it's a fraud. We know it's a fraud. Yeah. I remember somebody saying that this was a big TV show, but I've never heard of it. I don't think it's a big TV show. I don't even. What station is it on? It's like a cable show or something. I mean, this guy, I never heard of him. And nobody else is going to hear him anymore either. He's going to disappear into the ether, right? Yeah, I hope. Hope he never gets another job again. Although, watch, I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up again next season of this Empire. Because, you know, the media is not going to talk about this, except maybe Fox News. But not CNN, not MSN. Or is it MSM, right? MSM and ABC and NBC. None of them are going to talk about it. So he'll probably come back, right, the next season. I wouldn't be surprised. That's sad. That's a hate crime, if you ask me. He accused two white people. And when the cops, by the way, the cops told him that they had arrested two white guys, and he didn't know that they knew the truth about what had happened, that they already had the brothers in custody. And they asked him if he wanted to press charges, and he didn't even know who these guys were. And he said, yeah, I want to press charges. So he was willing to send two innocent men, white men, to jail because they were white. And because it would help with his hoax. I mean, this guy's a fucking nut. Why isn't he being charged with a hate crime? Because you can't charge Blackie with a crime against Cracker Whitey. You can never have a hate crime against Whitey, only against Blackie. Oh, I see. I see. It's very convenient. Very convenient. All right, I want to talk about one more thing here. Then I'm going to get the hell out of here. This has already run too long. Jesus Christ. I was doing this. If I do this an hour and a half every day, it's going to take longer than my podcast. An hour, I can do a day. But this is running a little long. Okay. So this is kind of retarded, and this is also why you shouldn't go to university. Student brought his baby daughter to class so his professor could watch her, so he could pay attention. It's a black guy, of course. Of course a black college student has a baby daughter, and he brings her to college with him to learn something useless, probably. So here's a thing that happens to every parent. Not mine. There's somewhere you absolutely have to go. Your current livelihood and possibly your future success depend on it, and all of your regular childcare options fall through. Nope. Never happened to my parents. Not once. Not ever. But you know why? Because even though they were cunts, what they weren't were poor. Because you see, they waited until they were old enough to support kids. I mean, my father was in the military, and then he had his military pension and a full-time job, and my mother worked too, so they had enough money. Yeah, so if they had something come up, which didn't happen because they weren't running around like chickens with their fucking heads cut off trying to make a living, because, they were already knowing how to make a living. They already had marketable skills, human capital. So, they weren't irresponsible, okay? At least to a large extent. So, yeah, they didn't have these kind of issues. You know who has these kind of issues? Irresponsible people. So often they wind up staying home knowing they'll suffer for it. But sometimes, like in the case of one student at Morehouse University, never heard of it, they go with option B and bring the kid along. Oh, Jesus Christ. On Friday, Nick Vaughn witnessed this scene. Why does he have a kid? University student with a kid. You couldn't keep it in your pants there, pal? Huh? Never heard of a condom? Of course not, because he's low IQ. Low IQ, doesn't know how to think ahead, has poor self-control, right? Poor impulse control, doesn't think ahead to the consequences of his actions, the possible consequences of his actions in the now, and how that might affect his future. So, yeah, I'll go gloveless. It just feels better, because my mommy was okay with the head of my cock getting cut off, so now I don't feel anything. And if I have a condom on, I really don't feel anything, so, yeah. I want to be a daddy at 18. Yeah, you loser. What a loser. You're guaranteed to be a loser if you got a fucking kid at 18, okay? I'm sorry. You are guaranteed to be a fucking loser. And your kids are going to be losers too, probably, because they're going to follow in your footsteps. So on Friday, Nick Vaughn witnessed the scene in his math class when his classmate Wayne Heyer showed up wearing his baby daughter in a carrier. Yeah, that's what you want to see in class, right? That's what you want to deal with when you're sitting in on your gender studies, or, well, I guess it wouldn't make any difference in gender studies. You're not learning anything useful anyway. But you show up to a math class and a guy's wearing his fucking kid on the front. Oh, God. It's a front carrier, right? Idiot. The father explained to their professor that he couldn't find a babysitter. No problem. I'm a progressive cunt just like you, so I'm perfectly okay with you bringing the kid in here. Not like I'm teaching anybody anything useful anyway. In fact, I even held the kid so the student could take better notes. Wow, that's great. Yeah. Why don't we just let other people raise this kid, right? Have no consequences for people's bad actions. Well, we have that, sure. Turns out that this wasn't a complete surprise. I try to tell my students early in the semester that if they ever need anything from me, to be in touch. Of course, that means taking care of their kids, I'm sure. No. Be in touch with me to let them know, and I really work to let them know I mean that. Oh, boy. Good Lord. Bring in your kids to school. Sure. Why don't you just have a nursery, right? Why don't we just put taxpayer money, federal grants into funding a nursery in every school? Let's encourage people to have kids at 18, 19, which means they're going to be single parents for the most case, right? For the most part, right? Yeah, that's a great idea. Let's encourage single motherhood, right? It ain't going to be single fathers, I tell you that. Ain't no court out there giving a man custody over a woman. I mean, unless she's like a serial killer. Yeah, just more push to create more dysfunctional people, like this father who had a kid at fucking 17, 18, because he had no father. How long is he going to stick around, right? Oh, Lord. Crazy shit. All right, so nobody called in. Great. I wonder if any of you have called in if I even gave you my Skype. So you wouldn't have to use your number. Then I give you my Skype name, and then you call me on Skype from your computer. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it's the time. I wanted this to be like a morning show, you know. I figure some of you might call in on your drive to work or at work or whatever, but maybe this is a bad time for it. I don't know. If you have any questions or comments, send them to me. My email is admin@therealistphilosopher.com. That's ADMIN at therealistphilosopher.com. That's my email. You got any questions, things you want me to address on the show, send them there. And also, if you like my content, please consider supporting me at therealistphilosopher.com/donate. I'm going to be back tomorrow, same time. Maybe. We'll see how the week goes. I'll check how many viewers there were when I can get back online on YouTube. And if there's not too many, I'll change the time. But let me know what would be a good time for you. All right, again, send me an email. And if you'd like to support my work, donate. And also consider following me on Twitter and Facebook or Twitch. I post regular updates whenever I post new content. And I also post quite a bit on Twitter and Facebook. So if you want me to comment on something or see what I'm following in social media, you should follow me on those two platforms. That's it. I'll be back tomorrow, but only for an hour, not an hour and a half like today. Okie dokie. I am the Realist Philosopher, and I wish you a good day. Take care.